Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs. 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator for technology startups. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. We've been doing this for a very, very long time. In support of our mission, we've been doing free mentoring roundtables since the fall of 2008. So this is the 663rd free mentoring roundtable. And of course, this format of mentoring is what we have standardized on. So in the premium program, we do a ton of this as well. So roundtables are very much a part of the life of 1M entrepreneurs, and of course, our lives, my life, Maureen's life, and everybody on the 1M team. Today, we're going to start the conversation with Krishnakumar Natarajan, KK for short, co-founder at Mela Ventures. I've known KK for a very long time, and he's been here on this particular platform also, I think once or twice before. Welcome, KK. It's great to catch up. I'm looking forward to exchanging notes on what's happening in our universe right now.
Absolutely, Shamna. Really a pleasure to be back on this platform. And once again, like to acknowledge the outstanding work you're doing to really get young entrepreneurs get to the next stage. Because I think the 0 to 1 stage is probably the most difficult one, and people need all the knowledge and experience to transition that.
Thank you, KK, for your supportive comments. So, folks, a few months ago, maybe midsummer this year, we started a series that is specifically focused on unpacking the AI startup trends, and in particular from the perspective of investors in this platform. And we are inviting investors to come and talk about their investment thesis and how they are thinking about AI investments. So KK, that's what we're going to focus on today specifically. So let's start with a bit of a general overview on how you are thinking about AI.
One, Shamna, I think unlike other technologies which have come in earlier, starting maybe from the smartphone revolution to the digital transformation, I think the transition to AI is real. And the other sense which I'm getting is, unlike other earlier technology trends, which took a certain time lag to get to mainstream, if the smartphone revolution took probably 8-10 years to get to mainstream, the digital transformation probably took 5 years. I think the time cycles are shortening, and adoption of AI, I think, is going to happen probably in a much shorter time span. Which is why, as investors, when we look at companies to invest, one of the key questions we raise is, particularly if you look at enterprise SaaS products, which probably people started building even before all this noise about AI started. The question which we ask them is, say, if you want to stay in business, not even thrive, but you want to stay in business, what is your thought process in terms of integrating AI into your whole product cycle? That becomes a very key criteria, because essentially today we see there are a lot of entrepreneurs who really build a very thin veneer of what they call as AI, which is more a front end, which is some sort of an initial play in terms of AI. But is it deep enough to get into creating high quality data and clearly sort of running the right models to get value, and on a continuous basis help improving inferences, so that AI really is not a thin layer on top of the enterprise SaaS product which they have built, but it's something which is totally integrated as a very key foundational layer of the product. So as
Yeah.
investors, we are starting to, in a way, see how entrepreneurs are planning for that. One
Mm-hmm.
realizes, I think it will take time, but at least our entrepreneurs thinking about a roadmap for that and what is their game plan for implementing that is what we'd like to understand.
Yeah, very good. KK, the first wave of AI startups, just as ChatGPT broke into the mainstream consciousness and really put AI at the center of discussions, the first wave of startups that came out of that euphoria
Hmm.
are mainly rappers. And to your point, rappers don't have deep moat in terms of
Yes,
being a AI centric company that is really going to be able to take advantage of AI and build significant defensive advantage to
hmm.
in enterprise applications. The other point you made, which actually resonates with me very much, is that this whole generative AI thing is relatively new. But AI is not that new. We've been
Absolutely.
covering AI startups since 2015, 16. We have case study after case study of very solid AI companies with very
Yes,
solid use cases, deep, whether it's computer vision or whatever aspect of AI they're addressing or taking advantage of. We have been covering AI use cases and AI startups for a long time. So
hmm.
yes, things are accelerating, but things are accelerating more from an adoption point of view, you
That's
know?
right.
And it's also accelerating from the point of view that everybody who's trying to now raise money is coming and putting an AI wrapper and pretending to be an AI company, even if they're not an AI company.
Yes.
Hi, Smana. Sorry, I don't use WebEx that much. This is
Hey,
Kareem
could
from
you
Connect.
please go on mute, Rashid? You're interrupting a conversation. Please don't do that.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to let you know that I'm in.
Good.
Yeah.
So then the next piece of this, parsing the AI trends is a question that is actually, you are probably one of the best people to answer this question. You spent a very large chunk of your life in the services world,
Yes.
right? IT services
Yeah.
world. Now, at this moment, IT services or services industry in general,
Hmm.
it could be advertising services, it could be creative services, it could be all kinds of services, have an enormous opportunity to automate by using AI, right? The
Absolutely.
whole no code movement, AI co-pilot movement, creative AI, generative AI. There's like so many components coming together that can potentially do wonders with an IT services company or an advertising services company or all these services companies in general. Tell
Right.
me, tell me how this opportunity or this trend is informing your investment decisions, because the history of venture capital in enterprise startups, for example, has always been we don't invest in IT startups, we don't
Yes.
invest in services startups.
Yeah.
But that doesn't need to be the point of view anymore. So tell me how you're thinking about it.
You know what? You are raising a very interesting point from now because as the transition happened, the investment thesis was that you look at more product companies where once you create and put it on the cloud, many customers can use it,
Yeah,
and that's how value gets generated.
yeah,
But in the world of AI, I think this whole notion of building a product and customers just using it, which means really a product led growth, which used to be the mantra of some of the companies, is not a straightforward
no,
GTM strategy.
That's right. There is
First of all,
training data, there is training of the
yes, it
algorithms.
requires very customer specific data. And in a way, you need to make a choice of what are the right models which will work for the customer.
Yeah.
Then help the customer evolve a data strategy where the quality of data becomes relevant so that the AI models can really be fine tuned and give the right outputs.
Yeah.
And on an ongoing basis, ensuring is there a drift in terms of results? How do you continue to play around with the weightages to improve inferences? So it gives a lot more value to the client. So all this element, if you look at the use case for a client, involves a lot of services,
Yes.
which is why one of our investment theses is there is going to be a set of companies which will start focusing in terms of what we call making AI real for customers. It means doing these several element of services which will make AI real for an end customer.
Yes. So I think you're bringing. I started in a different direction, but you are also bringing up a very important point on the services discussion, which is product alone is not going to extract the full value of AI. You need services to do that. And in fact,
Yes.
if you take that logic a little bit further, what we are also seeing is instead of do-it-yourself software companies, there's also do-it-for-me software companies where people are, the AI companies, the AI startups are providing the people who would actually run the AI technology and provide the value.
Absolutely.
Now, the point that I was making though is also that if you look at companies that are services first companies, like what you did previously,
Yeah.
there is a tremendous opportunity for automation inside of those companies and efficiency inside of those companies.
Absolutely.
So the P&L of those companies typically tend to be much lower margin P&L, which was the complaint against services companies from the venture capital industry. But
Yes.
if you have 30-40% savings by applying AI into that P&L structure, that becomes a
margin profile is going to
scalable.
improve. Definitely.
Yeah, right?
See, there are two trends happening here, Shamana, and clearly not just for the IT services companies. I think every company should start thinking in terms of how I will deal with my internal functions by leveraging AI. Yeah. So I'm just broadening a little bit the scope of the discussion which you had. And you're absolutely right. I've been talking to a few heads of engineering who say, if I can really deploy AI in the context of service delivery to clients, my productivity is going to improve by 30-40%, which means that the margin profiles are going to improve. And I think the IT services companies are very well positioned to manage this transition. Because again, if we go back a few years when really the automation platforms were becoming popular, I think many of the IT services companies really worked with clients to say, hey, we'll automate how we deliver services to you. And whatever are the savings, we'll share that savings with you. So customers gained and the IT services companies also gained because their revenues, yes, were a little bit impacted, but at the same time, they retained customers and were able to address a larger segment of customers and hence still continued not probably to grow 20% plus, but at least at the low single digit type of growth. So I think a lot of the IT services companies will apply a similar model even in the AI transition, where in service delivery, whatever impact they have in terms of productivity improvement, they are bound to share that with customers. So customers see that as a win for them, as well as clearly the margin profile of the service companies are bound to improve.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that the margin is not going to entirely come to the companies. They're going to share
Yes.
some of that gain with the customers and drop the price.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. That's very subtle and very appropriate. So tell me, what AI companies have you invested in? Let's do a few case studies, and as you're describing them, talk about why you have invested in those companies. And just give me one moment. Rashid, could you please turn off your video? You're really distracting.
Yeah, I'll probably talk about cases where all the entrepreneurs present in the webinar can also get a feel of what the problem being solved is. One of the companies which we invested was based on a thesis we had that while there is a lot of AI use cases where data is critical, the next big wave of AI application is going to be how AI is used on computer imaging. Yeah. And in a way, we had the precedence of companies which are attempting autonomous driving, which is again based on applying AI on computer images.
That's a computer vision problem, yes.
Yeah, that's a computer vision problem, but application of AI.
Yes.
But the key is then to understand in the business context, what are some processes where you can, in a way, deliver real business benefits to the customer. So what this company has done is they built an AI model on computer imaging, and they've applied it to retail execution. Now, the reason is our thesis is that physical stores are not going to go away because going to the store and buying is also a social experience. And today, if you see brands, how they do the store audit, they have either on their roles or they outsource a role called the merchandiser, and they physically visit the stores and then do a store audit in terms of how much space their brand has got, what percentage of that is at the eye level, because eye level certainly has a big impact in terms of consumers buying, as well as what is the competitive activity. That is done manually in most markets. Brand managers then supplement that with the AC Nielsen store audit data, which is how they get a feel in terms of how their brands are doing in various locations, geographies, and so on. So what this company has done is they have built an AI model based on computer imaging, which is integrated with the smartphone of the merchandiser. So it is linked to the SDK of the smartphone of the merchandiser. So all that the merchandiser does when he goes to the store, it takes a set of pictures, and through AI on the edge, they get all this data in terms of whatever they can get on store audit, in terms of the quantum of shelf space they have, how much of the shelf space at the eye level, what is the competitive activity, all that data they get. And brands do not want that on real time, even if at the end of the day, for a location in a physical location, this is what the brand has got, both in terms of market share and some of the key retail parameters. It gives them a good sense in terms of reacting quickly to competitive moves. It also predicts stockouts. If they say that in a store that some of the SKUs are low in terms of stock, it compares to the planogram and how much they have to keep, and in turn automates the whole ordering process also. So in some way, the whole supply chain of what you could call the last mile, and almost ensuring what at one time Unilever's Paul Pullman called as the perfect store, is a vision which many brand managers are now trying to implement. And again, significantly leveraging technology, because the old process where manually things were being done, which was validated by an AC Nielsen report once in a fortnight or so, it was being done, but it was not that effective. So today, I think brands like Procter & Gamble, brands like Kimberly-Clark are using this across markets to do this.
So this is a merchandiser that is deployed by the brands like the FMCG companies like Procter & Gamble and Unilever, who are sending into the stores to do store audits.
That's right. That's right.
Interesting. Okay. And in what in what condition did this company come to you? Were they able to show you when you first invested in the company? Were they already showing you the AI that is in action in stores?
To be honest, no, Shravana. I think the team which built this used to work for the IBM Visual Commerce business,
Okay,
and they had done a lot of work on that. So they just had the idea.
I
And
see.
to be honest, I think a lot of I think we have now been invested in them for almost 5 years.
Huh?
Many of the technology and tools available today weren't even there. Um, and when they started, really the accuracy was probably at a 30% level. Um, because you found that the ambient lighting in a store made a big difference in terms of the
Yeah,
accuracy of how you would recognize a product.
sure.
So they had to get into a very different thing of saying, how do you within the AI model build in the lighting sort of environments to make the prediction accuracy higher? Today they're running at a 95% plus, but that's something which the models have been trained over the last 3-4 years,
Mhm.
which in a way comes back to our earlier point of discussion. While there's a lot of talk about AI, it's not something which you can just work out of the box.
No.
I think there's a lot of input needed in terms of high quality data, the training approaches you follow, and how do you continuously track the model, whether it's leading to some hallucination, is there drift in the model? So it's a continuous process of tracking all these matrices.
Yeah, definitely. But I want to also ask you about your current strategy investing in AI companies. It sounds like this is a team that you really liked and you invested in that team with and the concept. How often do you do that? Do you invest in concepts much?
See, to be honest, we start off with the concept, and this came out of what we thought was the next stage of AI application is going to be on computer imaging. So it really was, I would say, an outcome of that thesis which he had.
Mhm.
But many times, to be honest, Ramna, I think we build this idea also with entrepreneurs. Just to give you an example, I think the application of AI is not just limited to software and to enterprise applications. In fact, one of our most recent investments is in a company which does what is called an Earth observability market. It's a data business because this business of taking images from satellites and selling it to people has always been there. But then it moved from just high imaging cameras to what you call high imaging spectrometry cameras. But there again, there's a constraint because if there's a cloud cover or if there's a bush or some foliage, you could
Yeah,
never get accurate images.
right.
So this startup has built a technology wherein when you launch a payload, you launch it with dual payloads. One is the normal high spectral imagery, and then a radar based technology also. So for a particular image, both these send out signals and the images are fused together by software, and they apply AI on top of it to improve the accuracy of what that image is. And then that is really the data which becomes valuable for customers. And just to give you a use case for that, increasingly India is becoming globally a big exporter of seafood. And
Mm.
India has about 7,500 kilometers of sea coast. And there's a lot of seafood which now gets exported. And today, the importers want traceability in terms of what has been the development of this, are the proper uh, process and procedures done to do that, what is the quality of the input.
Mhm.
So these images which are taken from space to the accuracy of probably less than 5 meters with a high accuracy is used to establish the quality of the product which is being shipped to the exporting countries, and hence trade gets in a way accelerated.
Mm.
So there are very interesting use cases which are evolving, not just in the software arena, but where there is a very tight integration of hardware and software, potentially maybe in areas like space tech, I think there are a lot of new use cases which will come by the application of AI.
So, KK, last question. How early are you and your colleagues in the venture capital industry going in India, going into AI startups? And let me qualify the question by saying, AI technology is a little bit more expensive to build, right?
Yes.
You need high-end engineers, you need data, you need compute. So it's not as easy to do a lean startup, just like scrap together a lean startup and get an MVP out and so forth. So AI is a bit more expensive. So are you guys going pre-seed and concept stage and all that? What's happening in your assessment in the industry with AI startups?
See, fortunately, Shamana, I think there is a lot of focus from the government also. What the Indian government is realizing is, unlike US or China, they've been little late in the race. So there is a lot of infrastructure which is being made available, particularly at the pre-seed level, for people to experiment and at least prove their initial concepts. Which is why funds like us get into what we call early stage, when there is some level of proof of concept and probably there are one or two customers. That's the stage at which we get in and really help them scale the business. But you're right, I don't think the infrastructure is sort of developed to such level. And again, if you honestly ask me, is this a VC play? Because our fund, because we are a little more patient capital, we are not looking at exits in 3-4 years. We probably would take 8 to 10 years to exit many of these companies. So what is required is a very dependable core infrastructure, which today there is still work being done, but at least at the basic level, some of the essential infrastructure is available. The second thing is really a risk capital ecosystem, which can, in a way, bring in patient capital to wait for a much longer time. That is still not, to be honest, very well developed in India.
Yeah, in India and in a lot of the United States ecosystem as well. The United States does have a high risk capital infrastructure in particular that is usually extended, that facility is extended to repeat entrepreneurs, to serial entrepreneurs who have experience. First-time entrepreneurs don't get access to that kind of capital. But typically, in India at least, now there are repeat entrepreneurs in India as well. So there is the luxury of betting on people who have some more experience.
Yes.
But this whole thing, I think there is a little gap in the AI financing ecosystem, whereby it's not so easy to get something started because there are more costs involved than doing a lean startup, as we have seen. Let's say if you look at the let's say 2005 till 2015-16 period.
Absolutely, the lean startup boom.
The lean startup boom. And we still believe very much in bootstrap startups, but this is why, one of the tracks we use in 1M1M is bootstrapping using services. So that actually is much more relevant in the context of AI, because you need some way to get things going, get things moving, and you need cash for that.
Yeah. No, the other thing is the traditional VC model of probably a fund life of 8 years and so on really does not work in the case of AI or deep tech investments, because they certainly require at least an outlook of a 10 to 12-year fund cycle, which currently many of the traditional VCs wouldn't have structured their funds
most VCs cannot change the structure of their funds to have a much longer lifespan, just because limited partners won't allow that. So I think the fallout of that, what I'm seeing is that the early stage VCs exit into the late stage VCs. Instead of trying to stay 8 to 10 years or 12 years or 14 years, they stay up to a point and then they exit into the Series C VCs or Series D VCs if they're going for a large play. Otherwise, they exit the company. So, yeah. Okay. Well, AKK, very interesting conversation. We will continue in the future. I will have you back.
Absolutely.
Do you have time to listen to pitches or?
No, I'm going to drop off
some.
some.
Yes,
Don't
okay,
mind.
no
This
problem,
is
no
a bit
problem.
late.
Thank you for coming, KK.
Thank you so much. Really a pleasure chatting to you. And once again, my deep appreciation for the wonderful work you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Folks, we're going to switch to the entrepreneur pitch session. We actually have an absolutely packed program today. Many of you are pitching. It looks like Saurabh, Sachin, Rashid, Manoj, Ankush, all are in the room. There's only one Manoj who's not in the room. So we are going to get started with the pitch session. Remember, this is a safe working session. So you don't need to be, nervous or defensive. This is just brainstorming about how you can accelerate your journey. And I'm on your side. We are all on your side. So no need to feel defensive. If you disagree with what I have to say, it's your prerogative. You do whatever you want with your venture. It's your company. So we are going to start. Actually, Manoj Krishna is not in the room from what I understand. Yes. Just check the. Okay, so skipping to Ankush. Ankush, you can unmute your line. I'll get us to your slides in just a moment. Okay, Ankush, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Am I audible properly?
Yes, your audio is loud and clear.
Okay, that's good. So, hello everyone. I'm thrilled to introduce you to Zukino, the AI-driven personal fashion designer come stylist.
Connect हुआ
Saurabh, please unmute. Please mute your line. You're interrupting. You guys, we have a session going on, so you can't just kind of feed your audio without muting. This disrupts the call. Please be sensitive. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled to introduce you to Zukino, Style Mind, the AI-driven personal fashion designer come stylist. So we are here to revolutionize how fashion brands engage with their customers by providing hyper-personalized shopping experience powered by cutting-edge AI. So why we started? So in today's digital first shopping experience and world, traditional personalization methods fails to meet customer expectation. Fashion brands face a lack of affordable, scalable tool that can offer individualized experiences. Zukino was born out of a mission to democratize fashion personalization, giving brands the power to deliver bespoke style recommendation that attracts and retain the customers. Next. So the time is perfect that we believe for Zukino Style Mind. Personalization is becoming a necessary in every aspects of our lives, and in the highly competitive fashion industry, it's again becoming very necessary. So advances in AI technology now allows for scalable solutions that were once impossible. And were uniquely positioned to lead the transformation and help brands differentiate themselves in the competitive marketplace. So our solution, Zukino StyleMind offers a game-changing platform with three key features as of now. So first is AI-driven style recommendation. So we have our own in-house model that actually design the outfits on basis of so many parameters. So it's like we can think that we are going to a fashion designer, physical fashion designer, and so obviously what they will do is he will obviously observe me first, and then he will be asking few questions. So which event I'm going, for what I need that particular outfit, or what kind of style I really like, and some few questions that majority of the fashion designer will ask you before designing your outfit. So similar kind of things also we are doing. So we are taking your image, and then we are asking a few of the questions that always any of the fashion designer will be asking to you, and then our designer is actually designing the outfit, and Yeah, and the next feature that we have is a virtual try-on. So enabling customers visualize how item will look on them. And again, it will be reducing the return rates and boosting the conversation for the brands. And last but not the least, that is very important and important benefit for the brands, like how they will be benefited from our product is we will be connecting users to items that they love within a brand's catalog. So our designer, what they will be designing for them, for particular individual, so we will be showing up and with a pop-up that these are the outfits, or these are the shirts or pants that our designer has designed for you, and having very similar product that this particular brand is already selling, so you can go ahead and directly go ahead and purchase it. So if I talk about our vision, so our vision is to empower fashion brands with AI tools that not only enhance customer engagement, but also drive loyalty and reduce operational inefficiencies. We aim to establish Zukino as a leader in AI-powered personalization, setting new standards for shopping experiences.
So,
And
in the interest of time,
yeah,
could you is this a concept level venture or are you already in business?
yeah. So I'm just coming to that. So we have yeah, after this slide only we have that our progress slide. So if I talk about the
Go ahead.
yeah, can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Can you go back, please?
No, I don't want to go back because I have
Okay.
too many people to handle today. And if you keep going, then I will not get to any time to give you any feedback. So you
Okay,
can keep
okay.
going. I can listen to you. But if you want my feedback, you have to come
Okay,
to.
got it. So we have successfully launched our MVP at a B2C level. So it's right now working, and we are live at zukino.co.in. So, but we have launched, although this is a B2B revenue model, but what we have launched is a B2C to get the traction and to get the product market fit. So, and we have got a very good responses from the early people that have tried our product, and that is something that our progress is right now. And for the future goals, we are enhancing the product feature for better engagement and increasing the AI sophistication for improved personalization.
Okay.
You can go next.
Do you have
Yeah.
any background in fashion?
Yeah, so I hold a diploma degree in fashion designing. So that's what I have from the domain.
So you don't really have any experience of working in software then?
No. I'm by profession, I'm a GenAI developer and a data engineer. I have been working with MNC, and I also hold a diploma in fashion designing because I'm working on this particular product.
Okay. So let's go back to your validation strategy. Validating with B2C for a B2B business doesn't count.
Yeah.
Don't
So
waste your time.
yeah. So what we had is we had just launched in this Diwali B2C, but before that we had our all infrastructure for B2B. So we haven't actually had our all infrastructure for B2B, but we had communicated with around 15 to 20 brands. One of them is from that one brand was really big, so that is from United States, Collar and Co. So he also showed interest, and other brands are from India. So but at that particular time we didn't have that infrastructure to really implement that particular product to their platform. So we just had a discussion, and they loved the product. But right now again we will be reaching to them. We have started reaching to them, one or two brands from India only. They are small brands although, but we had a conversation, and we'll be taking that forward.
Okay,
To get the product market fit at B2C, we launched for the consumer, whether they are really liking the personalization that we are providing. So for that particular thing, we have launched a section of a beta.
okay, but whether you can whether you can get this business to any scale is going to depend on whether the brands are going to pay for your product or not, right?
Correct.
For the consumers, it's a free usage. It's not. Consumers are not your customers.
Exactly.
So you're going to need to ASAP get 100 brands around this product starting to use and starting to pay. You can give them a free trial, but they need to start to use it and pay for it. And that's the strategy that you need in place immediately, is how to get there.
Exactly. Yep.
So what questions do you have?
So our main question is to refine the GTM strategy for that. We have been so we have also studying, but really not getting a effective way to uh, go to the market strategy. So
Okay,
if you
you
can
need to
help
learn
us.
how to do go-to-market strategy.
Yeah, we need to refine that to go to the UK and US market, because maximum of the things that we are doing is we are connecting on LinkedIn's and approaching them. We are doing cold emailings. So what else can we do to get into our primary market, that is US?
Okay. I will. Why don't you stay? You are not ready for funding. You're asking for investment. You're not ready for funding at all, because there's no validation here. You cannot go raise money without validation. We have to get this company validated with customers, and until you get there, this is not going to be ready for funding. So I think you should hold on. Let me finish working with the others. I will explain how to use 1 million by 1 million for, first and foremost, to get a go-to-market strategy going, and then once you're ready, we can get you into investor discussions. But we have to first get a go-to-market strategy going, get the validation going, and so forth. And we will keep
anyway, we are mainly not focusing on the investments right now, but we are really focusing on the GTM to get at least our initial customers.
That's good. That's good. Okay. So yes, we can help you figure out the go-to-market strategy. You're going to need to be in the 1M1M premium program for me to work with you closely to do that. So hold on, I'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's see who's next. Manoj Taneja, you're next, AlphaSheet. Manoj, please unmute your line. Ankush, mute your line. Good. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Sumana, for giving me this opportunity to present my idea in front of you. Let me start with my brief introduction. So myself, Manoj Taneja, and I've been working in IT industry for last almost 20 years and so. And I started doing the coding when I was 16, and like I started my career with freelancing stuff and all. And then I started my IT solution company back in 2005. And I have worked with a lot of overseas clients and all. And my core expertise in software architecture and problem solving. So let me jump to the alpha sheet now.
And Manoj, where are you joining from?
Noida, Delhi. Noida, Delhi NCR.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So AlphaSheet is basically a no-code business intelligence tool that helps user to browse any sort of data in MS Excel or Google Sheet. When we say any data, means like the data is coming from any source, either it is your native SQL database, or it is your NoSQL database, or maybe any other cloud application that is based on REST standard. We have just like our tech is ready. So, and then basically what AlphaSheet does is that it is just not a reporting tool. It is just, it is just not about browsing the data, but it actually replaces the need of having a separate reporting tool, what generally the different enterprises or small businesses have right now. So with the use of AlphaSheet, you can just go and create your report in maybe in just 5 minutes. All you just need, either you just need an API which is already there, or maybe a SQL statement you can plug in, and then done. Your report is ready, and you can just browse the data in MS Excel. The thing is why we just build this product. first thing is obviously since I belong to the same industry and I know people, what sort of difficulty people have, and we built same sort of solutions in the past in a different way altogether. Like people are we say we built a custom CRM application and we provided some sort of a screen like where user can go and download the data in CSV format. So what generally user do is like they download the CSV file, they go into the MS Excel, they import it, and then they do their stuff. So that is just one single application, one single source of data. What about like if they are using multiple applications? Say I have built a CRM application that is a custom application, and now your company is using other different applications like QuickBooks, HubSpot, Twilio, or something else. How about the data which is coming from there as well? And you need to analyze different aspects of your business. So one of the very good use case which we have identified, which I will discuss in the next slides. So our application, the tech is ready, and we did an MVP as well years back, and then we got some good feedback. And however, our MVP is still running free of cost right now, but we didn't charge for that one. And I personally got some good validations as well from my service-based customer who are they like the idea, but they actually wanted to see in the life like how it is going to actually work and how we can integrate them. I'm not committing that I'm not saying that they have committed me to pay, but yes, I have a soft commitment they will use the product definitely.
Manoj,
And
question.
yeah. Hmm.
How big is your services company?
Our right now our size is we have just around 45 people right now and 40 engineers approximately. And
What about
like we are doing good. We are earning our like bread and butter, and we just built this product by bootstrapping. Obviously, spent couple of years and all in this product. Yeah.
Okay. And so nobody is paying for the product. Your revenues come entirely from services right now.
Yes, yes. Right now, we have just created another company for this product. I'm totally focused on this company right now, and for my services company, I have just other people are just taking care of that thing. Can you just go back? And I just want to discuss about a little use case. So what we identified, like different businesses can actually go and use that, but initially we thought that we should be very specific, like who should we go and figure out like. So we found that the Shopify stores owners, they can actually go and use this product. We built different sort of product for them, data analysis and all, but we thought that okay, what if that we can aggregate their data all together at one platform, and they can go and browse those data into the MS Excel, and they can create their own beautiful custom dashboards in MS Excel as well itself. So Shopify owners actually just use obviously one Shopify, and then they are using for accounting, they are using QuickBooks. For their payments and invoicing, they have obviously integrated Stripe, and then they have some other marketing tools, Facebook, Google Analytics and all. So all this data can come together in one place, and then now you just go and see like, hey, what was my statistic for yesterday? How many customers just abandoned the cart? How many orders were there? What I spent on Facebook versus what I spent on Google. So all those data and metrics can come together in one place, and then you can build your own dashboards. And at the same time, one of my key advisor actually advised me that we should actually figure out something which can relate to India. And I found that there's some interesting problems related to the accounting. So we did a market survey, and we found some very good use cases where we can analyze the accounting data. In there, we probably be adding some AI capabilities as well, Right now, we cannot do because obviously it is a very costly affair and also we need some good data validations as well. Until we have the data, we can't build all those use cases. So that will be our next path in this one. So right now we are particularly targeting only Shopify owners and Tally accounting people. And however, we do not have very precise numbers or like any specific idea on like who can buy our product, but we have just segregated into different dimensions. Obviously, we are going to target right now only United States and Europe, and then some specific set of customers. For customer acquisition strategy, obviously we want our product to be used first of all. If the people are using, then we will win, obviously. Then we have our product is basically completely tech product, so people should know and should aware about the how to use that product. So content marketing is obviously the key thing, and then the second stuff obviously like how we invented this thing. So we know that if IT solutions companies come together with us, they can actually propose our solution to their client. However, it is I mean it's there could be some conflict, but yes, we think that in a longer run people will come together and like people
What brings you here, Manoj? In the interest of time, I have to work with another couple of people. So tell me what brings you here? What are you looking for?
Right now, I'm just looking for obviously some advising from your side, like how to obviously get our first 100 customers or so, or refining our go-to-market strategy. And obviously, last not the least, obviously we need some funding as well. And because we want this thing to be like we have a very good roadmap that includes adding some other dashboarding capabilities, AI capabilities. We need to add all of those because
So the
to
problem
survive the
is
market,
the
yeah.
company is not ready for funding. If you want to work on your go-to-market strategy and get the company ready for funding, you can work with 1 million by 1 million, and then when you are ready, we will introduce you to investors. But even before that, we would work with you on your go-to-market strategy and getting the company validated and the story. See, for all of you, if you're trying to raise money, you have to tell a story that you're going to go from $0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. And that story needs to have enough proof points, enough early proof points to be defensible. People have to believe that story, right?
Yep.
You're going into very, very competitive markets. This is an incredibly competitive market, so we have to find a narrative with which we can convince investors that this is going to work. We're going to grow fast because we are doing this, and this is our uniqueness, this is our positioning. All of that needs to be in place, and none of that is in place right now. You have a little bits and pieces of hypothesis at the moment.
That's correct. That's correct.
Right? But the good news is you do have a services business, which is what you're using to bootstrap this company. And that I like very much, because bootstrapping in using services, as I mentioned in the conversation with KK, is a strategy that we have used extensively in 1 million by 1 million. And it's a tried and true strategy. It works really well. And we're very familiar with taking advantage of that method of bootstrapping companies. And when you raise funds is when you can raise funds. You know, if you can raise funds and funds are being offered to you, then you can ask the question, should I take this funding or not? But
Okay.
that privilege is available to very few people. First and foremost, you have to get to that point where you have the option of raising funds, and that you're not there yet.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So let me work with the others, and I will come back to more Q&A, and I will come back to explaining more of the 1M process to you.
Thank you, Samana. Thank you.
Is Karim here?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much, first of all. I want to say that you are amazing. I am amazed at your points that you point out, and the feedback you give is truly one of a kind. I want to thank you for the guest before. He's very, very balanced on AI. I'm sorry, guys, I'm a little bit more technical in what I'm gonna say, but I just appreciate the opportunity and I want to thank everybody. I think the second idea
Karim,
is a
where
little.
are you joining from? So Brazil, Egypt, Italy, what does that mean?
Which one do you like most?
Oh, they're all interesting.
So let's go visit them.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, I changed the presentation because I believe that this is a 10-year plan, and it's better to look at it from terms of finding a major partner in what we're trying to do. So I will explain a little bit about myself later. I just want to dive into the project a little bit. We do believe that AI is the future, the present, and very lucrative and very good for our economy. It speeds up processes and it makes us a lot more efficient. So the problem is, the more you ask, because language models are based on the HTTPS protocol and on handshakes done in Java, HTML, CSS, it's very old technology. So the internet was built around 88. And then in 93, we had the first, we had military uses, of course. And then in 95, started to get a little bit mainstream. And so we go. So the problem nowadays is we are facing two major problems: cybersecurity. The second point is API handling. So, for example, for us to get here, like for me, the password and then coming back. So all these APIs talking together. Number three, the interactivity on the internet per se and the veracity of the information, especially with AI. So the problem with large language models nowadays is that the information it's based on is not always very biased. It needs a lot of work and effort, and it needs a lot of engineers and recalibrating. I don't know if you guys heard last week, Gemini threatened the kid. He said, "You're not a human, you are nothing, you're worth nothing." So these hallucinations we need to be aware of. So what do we do? So Kinetic was born in 2017. I am from both fields. I am from engineering and physics and quantum mechanics, but at the same time, I love literature and epistemology and languages and linguistics. So these abilities gave me the uh, eye to see that in 2017, blockchain was a very smart way of guaranteeing information integrity. So we are not really interested in Bitcoin or this or that. No, we are taking the core technology behind Bitcoin, which is basically blockchain, and applying it to nodal, multi-distributed, P2P decentralized digital economy that will power an OS operating system different than the Android and the iOS, with flexible screens used as a fashionable wearable device that acts as data storage, internet, and also applications app store. The OS per se is not a browser, but is not an OS. So basically, it's like you're inside the Play Store. Very well. So how do we see ourselves in terms of bringing the two worlds together? We see that we need a partner that is already developing the hardware, because we see ourselves as a software company and a blockchain company and a financial sustainable ecosystem of conservation of energy. For example, our devices, you will be able to shake them and charge them. So you will have 1 week of electricity. It will generate some money for you at the end of the day if you decide to loan us and lend us your data. The only counter reasons are two things. This is not a cell phone. This is not an iPhone. This is not an Android. This is a wearable smart assistant device. This will help you with a lot of things, but it will not receive calls. I don't know if you guys lived through the 80s, there was the beeper. So it is a beeper. You can receive messages and you can use it for calls, but nobody can call you on it. Plus, when the device is idle, you can mine nodal information. The big thing is that we have also smart contracts. This allows us to declare actions. I spent almost 20,000 hours studying Strategy in general, um, political history, Roman history, stuff like that, that nowadays is very useful. But I have no proof. I cannot prove this to you unless I talk to you deeply about it. Well, on the kinetic network, you will be able to have proof of concept, proof of work, proof of stake, proof of investment, proof of charity, proof of union, proof of movement, social movements, human rights, all of that. So what we're aiming at is total data security by eliminating the client, not eliminating like bad thing. No, we will all decide that for the best LLMs and accurate LLMs to come out, and for the engineers and all the money that was spent on AI not to be stalled and controlled and hallucinated, we need pure data, human, real data that we can certify.
Hang on, please. So what do you go by? Your name says Rashid, and then the slides say what's your name? What do I call you?
My name is Kareem, like
Karim.
the basketball player. You don't need to call me Mr. Rashid. That's how my dad used to be called. But
Okay.
me, I'm
You
just
can
Kareem.
actually turn on your video now that you are speaking, if you like.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much for
Everything that you've said so far is kind of all over the place. There is really no positioning in what you have said. And the only thing I've been able to extract from from what you've said is that you're trying to build a beeper, but you're not a hardware company. You're looking for a hardware partner who builds beepers, and you want to provide the software behind it. And then the software, it sounds like it really wants to boil the ocean, and that is not the way to build companies. So you're going to have to.
For 5 minutes, right? You interrupted. So the second part's gonna come right now. The internet is not by the way, this is not the presentation I wanted to present you. I'll send you the new one. It's a much better formatted than this one.
Well, the point sending me the new one. There is,
Sure.
You get one opportunity to present to me for free. And in that opportunity, I have understood nothing about what you're doing.
We're gonna get to it. So what we're doing is that we're eliminating the cost of having Google store all the information on a www using trillion of dollar servers by basically transforming devices that we carry into mini servers that connect on a P2P decentralized network that's built on the
customer. Who is the customer for this?
Who is the customer for this? Let me answer you. For example, when you buy a Tesla satellite, the Tesla internet, you pay a subscription, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. So our device will provide internet and income because it is a smart device. It's not just a modem. It's three things. It is an external hard drive, a modem, and a smart device. So it's a wearable, fashionable device that you wear on your wrist. You have one screen here, 6 inches, one screen here, 6 inches. It is a smart device. It is very familiar in terms of user interface, UX, UI, to what we use, but the data is yours. So,
and where is the validation that any of this has any basis for viability? Have you done any validation work?
Of course, now I have a 165-page academic study talking about all.
Study is not validation. I'm asking about customer validation. Who is willing to pay a subscription to buy this product, and what validation do you
We're
have?
not subscription. We're offering a network, an alternative internet that is unhackable. Do you realize the military, industrial, health, insurance, banking applications of what I'm saying?
No, I don't. You have to go ask them if they understand it or not. It's not important whether I understand it or not. You have to go ask banks if they're willing to forego the existing commercial internet and go on your alternative internet, if the military is willing to do that or not. So go do that validation work. Unless you can validate with customers, there is no business.
So first of all, again, let's say IBM has, when Microsoft started, IBM needed an OS, correct?
So what?
I beg you to be less passive aggressive if you can, and just
I'm
hear
not
me out a
passive
little.
aggressive. I'm plain aggressive. I'm
You are,
not known for being passive aggressive.
I know, but I like it. You're sweet. So, anyways, you're a sweet person. You care about people's feelings, you know, but you're on a schedule. I understand. So it's very simple. We don't have any defense against cybersecurity attack, high DNS attacks. Websites are still vulnerable. Your device is vulnerable because the way that APIs, you understand API calls, right?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. The way API calls and server-client relationship is a bad relationship. It's very slow.
Look, Karim, you are completely all over the place. This business, as far as I'm concerned, the way it is right now, it's going to go nowhere. So you need to figure out how to build a business. First and foremost, maybe you know a lot of things about literature and Roman history and blockchain and so on and so forth, but how to build a business,
The
you
10
don't know.
minutes I talked, you interrupted me 3, so you still owe me 3 minutes. So what
No,
we're
I
going
don't
to
think I owe you anything. I think I'm done.
do
I
is
don't think we're getting
share,
anywhere. You're not listening.
share
You're not processing anything I'm saying. I don't think
unhackable
we're
and
getting
it's
anywhere.
gonna be able to hack. This is very rude. I would never.
You're not listening. There's no point my wasting time on trying to give you advice on when you're not listening.
You are very rude. You didn't even give me the time to
Maureen,
finish.
could you please unmute? Could you please mute Rashid's line? I don't think we are getting anywhere here. So, folks, while Rashid is on mute, I want to explain to you, since we've all listened to this pitch, I want to explain to you what is wrong with this pitch. And Rashid, you can listen to me, you can take this feedback, you can not take this feedback, it's entirely up to you. A business requires a target customer, a target segment, a target value proposition, a target business model, a pricing model, and a total available market. That is how we build businesses. In this
other presentation presented what you said.
Maureen, can you please mute him? We cannot let him speak and interrupt the call constantly. Or I'm just going to skip through it. Never mind. I don't think it's workable. Let's go to Saurabh. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Sorry for the previous interruptions. Actually, I've been traveling to Pune right now for a conference with Google. So there might be some disturbance because I'm on the roadside and looking for a cab. So if that's okay, I can go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. Let's try. If it's, if I can't hear you, I will not be able to work with you, but I will try,
Yeah, sure. I'll try my best. So, hi everyone. Myself Saurabh. I'm from Surat, Gujarat. We are a prop tech startup offering cutting edge VR solutions to builders and real estate companies. Okay. Is my meeting visible? Yeah. So what we offer is we have an virtual tour creation platform, which is world's most advanced and India's first virtual tour creation platform, which helps property owners or anyone selling property or wants to give their properties to rent. They can create virtual tour of their space, and they can easily share those tours with just a link, so that users can walk through the property and can make better decision about the property, whether they are purchasing or not. So we have two products. One is Astra 3D, which is the world's most advanced and India's first VR tour editor. It is a product like you have seen Matterport, but we are like in terms of VR, we are much better than Matterport, because Matterport works on LiDAR techniques, and for Indian market, it's really expensive. I mean, it's very expensive to afford. So we have built an affordable solutions to create virtual tours. And in India, there is no dedicated marketplace where you can, post your virtual tours or give an virtual tour option, so people can go and walk through the property and make informed decision about properties. can we go to the next slide? Yeah. So recently we carried out an we researched and we found out that among whatever the solutions that are currently existed in the market, whether it's property portals where you see 2D images and some details about property. So 81% of people are actively looking for more immersive solutions where they can virtually walk through the property and can really see the property, how it looks, rather than just seeing the static images. And sometimes in the property portals, the images are not accurate. Sometimes blurry images can create confusions among users. So they are actively looking for and more immersive options. So and the second is 73. Yeah. Okay. Good. So yeah. So 73% of property seekers online with inadequate online virtualization tools. So like I said, the images are kind of blurry and there is not a proper, appropriate.
Did we lose Saurabh?
Sometimes this is very misleading. So, am I audible?
You are now audible, but I think you're cutting in and out of the call. But keep going. Let's try.
Actually, I don't know. I'm having problem with my earbud. It's connecting and then again disconnecting.
Yeah. Are you in a car?
No, actually, I'm looking for a cab. So I have to catch my train in next 2 hours. So I'm currently outside my house.
I see. Okay, so this business plan I've seen before. There are virtual tour technologies out there. The virtual tour in
Yeah.
real estate is not uncommon. You're saying it's the first in India. I assume you've done your
Yes.
competitive analysis. It is certainly not the first product of its kind in the world. We have seen this before many times.
Yeah.
So
So there are products like Kula and Cloud Pano. But what we offer is we are the most advanced virtual tour platform. And India, there is no platforms like creating virtual. There are companies that are providing those services where you can hire them and they will create virtual tours on behalf of yourself. But what we have is we have an editor where you can create virtual tour of your property within 10 minutes. So that kind of solution we offer.
and what validation do you have? Have you already got real estate agents working with this or property owners working with this product? Do you have
Yeah,
a product?
so I'm working with some of the prominent real estate companies in South Gujarat, Raghuveer Builders, and you can search for them, Raghuveer Builders and Awadh Builders. They are quite very famous in South Gujarat region. We had approached them and we just launched our product this week. So we had a meeting with them and we are going to create some properties for them in next week.
So why is your business model lead generation fees and not charging the builders for doing this, not a SaaS software as a service product charging the builders?
Yeah, there are two platforms. One is the e-commerce portal where they can list properties, like property portals. In India, you have seen no brokers, which are already more than $1 billion company. There are housing.com, and there are multiple websites that offer 2D and the old-fashioned kind of e-commerce platform, not the immersive one. So we have two products. One is the editor, in which you can create virtual tour of properties, and then you can
Keep going.
Directly to the users. And other thing, like we have the e-commerce portal where they can post the property, so anyone from around globe or around India can search for properties online and can find more immersive way, more immersive way to contact the builder and see the property. So there hasn't been lack in both the scenarios. Like we don't have an e-commerce portal where we can put immersive.
So it's
we
not
have
very easy to build two businesses, from a resource point of view. It's not going to be so easy to build. It's expensive businesses to build. And you have to kind of factor that into your thought process of how you build business strategy, is that you cannot build these two businesses at once. So what is your situation? Are you doing this full time? Is there, how are you going to bring it to market?
Yeah, so let me tell you a bit about myself. So previously I was working with a company called Ethereal Engine. Now they are acquired by an US, like both were the US based company. You have heard about IR, Infinite Reality. They are more than $2.3 billion company right now in the market, and they just acquired DRL, drone racing league. So I had a fellowship with them, and from there I got to know about like the importance of web-based products in virtual reality. So from there I got idea of creating web-based virtual tool solutions, and we figured out like there has been a lack, and if we create
But
one product, then again,
is it an idea stage company?
no, we have an MVP ready.
You have an MVP ready, okay, and that MVP is to do the virtual tours for builders on behalf of builders.
Yeah,
So
like they
then,
can create virtual tours within 10 minutes. They just need 360-degree images where which images they can get from their architecture. So it's quite easy for them to get the 360 picture, and just within 10 minutes they can create virtual tour of their property.
and are they willing to pay for this product?
Yeah, they are willing to pay. I mean, few of them offered to take some stakes, but like we have just
You're cutting out. Okay, well, Saurabh, I'm going to give you some feedback. Saurabh, you are cutting in and out. So I'm going to give you some feedback. You can pick it up from the recording and process that feedback and see what you want to do with it. I would not try to do the real estate, e-commerce, brokerage platform or whatever you call it at the moment. I would try to build this virtual, virtual tour technology and sell it to builders, charge them and sell it to builders, and build up a business doing that, and build up relationships with a number of builders, and where there is a certain inventory of properties that are coming in, with on top of which then you can build the e-commerce engine. So it may be a little bit longer. Maybe you spend a certain amount of time building up the virtual tour business, get a bunch of builder clients, get a lot of people building these virtual reality tours on top of it, and build a revenue stream. And then I would start the e-commerce thing, because I think trying to do all of that at once is not going to be, I mean, financially, how you're going to need to figure out how you do it.
Yeah, actually, I thought about it, but the actual problem for them is like they want lead generation. So for lead generation, we need our platform where we can, grab users. And the virtual tour thing is just for, creating virtual tours of property that they can share with
Why
their
are you leading
connections.
with virtual tours? If they want lead generation, if you want to be in the lead generation business, be in the lead generation business. Why bother building a virtual tour business is going to be expensive.
Actually, they need both the solutions together. So
if they want both the solutions together, they need to pay for both the solutions. First and foremost, they need to pay you to build virtual tours. They need to pay you to use your software and build virtual tours. That cannot be a free service.
No, it's not a free service. They need to pay for both the platforms, and we have pricing for both the platforms. It's not free.
Right. So
Right now we are offering.
I'm just giving you feedback on how to build the business. You will not have the resources to build two businesses that are sufficiently complex. One of them is sufficiently complex trying to build two businesses is going to be, as a startup with very limited resources, going to be very, very hard. That's what I'm telling you. So unless you start charging these people for doing the virtual tour business, it's going to be very difficult to get to the e-commerce platform.
Yeah. So actually, we figured out the solutions. Like what the other e-commerce portals are offering is they are offering professional photo shoot. So rather than offering professional shoot, we offer virtual tour creation. So the pricing remains same. What they are offering in the same pricing, we are offering much better solution.
Yeah, but you have to build an entire business. Building an entire business of a real estate platform is not so simple.
Yeah, I understand. I totally understand.
It's not just about virtual tour, offering virtual tours and offering photo shoots. That's a tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of the business.
Yeah.
This is a very, very complex, large e-commerce business. And that it's not a cheap business to build. My point is it's not a cheap business to build. And marshaling the resources to build that business is not going to be so easy.
Yeah, got that. Actually, we understand it requires lots of capital. So
Yes, it's a capital intensive business. That business is capital intensive business, and there is no evidence that you're going to do something sufficiently different because they're already big players. So how difficult it is for a large player to insert virtual tour technology into their platform. It's a no-brainer, Saurabh. This is not a defensible competitive advantage at all. No investor is going to give you that level of capital to build such a platform because the competitive advantage is going to disappear in a nanosecond.
yeah, I understand.
So I would consider very carefully the premise of the business that you're thinking of building. I don't think the premise is sound. It's a flawed premise on which you're trying to build a very, very capital intensive business. And that has to be thought through.
Yeah, got that.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Sachin.
Hi, Shamana. Hi, folks. Lovely meeting all of you. Thank you for the opportunity to pitch. So I think interesting anecdote before I start. So I'm a second-time entrepreneur, and I heard this somewhere. It took me about half a decade to understand that, first-time founders build products, second-time founders build great distribution, right? And it's coincidental that I'm looking to build something in the distribution space. So what I'm trying to do is build India's retail distribution 2.0. Could you please move to the next slide? So before I begin, right, I'll just give you a quick background in terms of what my journey has been. So I'm a qualified lawyer. I'm an ex-founder. I bring about 8 years experience across scaling technology companies, which include B2B, SaaS, direct-to-consumer brands, and CPG and retail for the last 4.5 years. My first venture was a venture called Recuvia, where I scaled the business to about 20K in MRR. It was a bootstrap venture at that point in time. I pivoted it and built India's first AI-powered legal recruitment marketplace. I onboarded about 20,000 candidates, raised about $120,000, and onboarded clients like Uber and Zomato when AI wasn't really mainstream and I was not even a technical founder, right? And I was solo. So I had a lot of learnings during that period of time. I think over the last 4.5 years, my focus has shifted. I've been building direct-to-consumer brands and been in the retail space. So I helped scale a brand called Lemonade to about $1 million in revenue. And I've been a part of consulting with a bunch of brands, have worked across different parts of the business, from supply chain to creating the marketing to basically taking a brand from 0 to 1. And I think in terms of leadership, right, a lot of the roles that I've had, I have been purely, building out the business, the nuts and bolts. So I have a complete understanding of how to build a business from start to finish across both these segments. Also with me in my team, just quickly touching upon it, I also have a seasoned CTO and another COO who bring relevant experience very similar to mine across scaling multiple ventures and really credible names. So I think let's really understand the problem statement, right? Indian retail distribution is broken and it affects 3 key stakeholders. Now, who are these stakeholders, right? It's credit, and this comes from learning and validation from my experience, first-hand experience as an operator in a business and as a consumer, which is that, despite the fact that CAC is rising and brands are forced to take up an omni-channel strategy, over 7,000 new age brands in India struggle to go offline, right? Big box retailers are, they're dinosaurs in the way that they operate, and they prioritize legacy brands like Coke, Pepsi, Nestle, which take up about 70% of shelf space. In addition to this, when you go into trying to figure out why a brand can't really go offline very quickly, it's a question of money, right? Because the way that the entire system is gamed, it's a real estate play, which is that they charge high listing fees, they do a lot of delayed payments. So if I've got a purchase order for about $30,000, I'll see it only 6 months later, if at all, right? And I have to beg them for it. And super high commissions. If I'm selling $100 product, I'm going to probably pay $40 to the retailer, and I'm only going to take home $60. So it's quite a complex problem. And for retailers in India, right, you hear about new age kirana stores or old age kirana stores or small business retailers struggling really because of the advent of quick commerce brands, right? So over 10 million retailers are stuck with outdated payment processes. They have limited tools to discover new age products, which means they're stuck buying the Cokes and Pepsis, and their margins are really pathetic, which is 5% or less than 5%. So on a let's say on a 20 rupee Cadbury, they earn 5 rupees, and even on a 100 rupee a Cadbury, they earn less than 5 rupees, right? So it's less than 5% of product, and there's no better way to do it, which is why they're dying because of the advent of quick commerce. And the last stakeholder that it really affects is consumer, which is the new age Indian consumer that is health conscious, wants better brands, but is unable to find those options because discovery is such a problem, right? And that's also because of fatigue of online templatized formats on Shopify. Every other brand is vying for attention, and there's not really any options when you go offline because all of these legacy brands are dominating shelf space, so you don't really find great products. Which means that, what I've realized over the last probably 11 months is that this entire system needs a reboot. It's not easy to try and figure out retrofitted solutions. Could you move to this next slide, please? So it's taken me a while to build conviction, to build out a solution, or even formulate a solution around this, which is that fundamentally we're building a retail as a service platform. It's a hybrid platform, which includes our own AI technology and physical retail spaces, right? Which enable D2C brands to go offline. It enables, these retailers to be able to find better products and get better margins, and offers customers deep discounts, not venture backed funded by venture capitalists, but actually because the business model works as such. It's essentially like the antithesis of quick commerce, right? Because today there's an entire argument on how quick commerce is taking over the Indian retail market, but there are enough data points and market research to validate that over 95% of India shopping happens offline, and it's going to be $1 trillion market in 2030. So retail is here to stay, right? So the solution comprises of our own curated retail stores where we pick up better for you products. We exclude legacy brands, and we offer discounted memberships at least 30% flat across the year. So I'm helping you save, let's say your grocery bill is about $10,000 a year. I'm going to help you save 3,000 straight up, right? So that's the value proposition for a consumer. For retailers, building an AI-powered marketplace, which basically streamlines product discovery and distribution, enabling them to go from 5% to 40% margins. In terms of the having built and worked with a bunch of resources, trying to build the supply chain tech as well, which is the overarching layer which helps us manage everything seamlessly. And we have a moat, which is the membership model across for brands, consumers, and retailers, which is really the defensible play in this business. Could you please move forward to the next slide? So in terms of the opportunity, like I was talking about earlier, it's a $1.4 trillion opportunity in 2030. We are not going to be very aggressive in calculating the service addressable market because it's not really, not every bit of that retail opportunity could be coming our way. But yes, the conscious consumers, the new age brands, the health conscious segment could be about a 13% market opportunity, which is stands about $200 billion. And we're looking at a very, very reasonable, very conservative 2.5% penetration, which lands at around $6 billion, which also includes a little bit of the supply chain distribution technology, which will enable brands to go offline, not just the core business as well. So you could move forward, please. So in terms of the idea, it's taken me, like I mentioned earlier, it's taken me about at least 11 months of validating the opportunity with multiple pilots. It comes from my first-hand experience as an operator and a consumer. This included things like actual sales, product listings, interviews, surveys, leveraging my role, which was my previous role at Smart Veda as its chief business officer, helping scale direct consumer brands, right? So what did we do? We went to a bunch of big box retailers, over 10 big box retailers. We went to 50 plus SMB retailers. We went to 20 plus brands, right? And we've spoken about 100 plus consumers, and these are very these numbers have changed over time, but we've understood that the core pain points are red tape, legacy brands dominate, um, the shelf space, there's high listing fees, and there's no real solution in the market, right? How did we then we went to validating, and at this point in time, I didn't want to build a solution. I was trying to be an operator and optimize my brand. So it's honestly not been that I was trying to consciously work on building this out, but it sort of happened in terms of a fortuitous circumstance. So then went on to list my brand onto quick commerce platforms, right? And then realized that there's a wait list of about 3,000-4,000 brands. They also struggle with legacy brands and only prioritize them. So you won't find really a lot of new age brands, right? And it took, despite having access to a great network, wasn't able to get listed after 6 months as well. Despite trying to have conversations, it's just really, really bad the way that the current business operates. We also did pilots at our direct competitors, and in terms of a bunch of formats, right? Distributors, middlemen, intermediaries, and one similar to MarketSquare, which is a retail as a service sort of store. And again, they're all viewing it as a real estate game, and they provide half-baked technology solutions. I've worked with pretty much everybody in the market, and there's no one encompassing tool. I use 5 tools to manage my online store, and I use 5 tools to manage my offline store, and it's a mess, right? In this time, I also managed to find a data source. Given my previous experience of building an AI company, I realized that a lot of this could be solved by sort of just having access to a lot of data. Identified a data set of about 10 million retailers, which includes city level, store level data of what revenue will come in, how much revenue the store generates, and which categories and what products, which will power the recommendation engine, which was a really good indication to me that this business could be a viable opportunity. So I think I spent the last 3 months sort of building conviction, speaking to brands, trying to figure out.
I'm going to stop you there and try to understand your business, because I don't understand your business. I'm going to try to see if I can synthesize what you're trying to do here, and get some clarity on what positioning are we looking at.
Sure.
So you are trying to help new age brands find shelf space in brick and mortar retail. Is that the key value proposition of this?
Yes. The only nuance is that it's the offline distribution that they are forced to go to right now is through our own stores. So we're not trying to go and help them get listed in a shelf space of a new age of an existing retailer. We're trying to take them to our own store.
You want to create a chain of stores?
Yes.
Where you're going to showcase new age brands?
Correct.
Why didn't you pitch it like that?
Oh,
I've been listening to you for how many slides and how many minutes, and why is this so convoluted? I just told you in 1 second, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing. Isn't that a lot easier to understand what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So that's point number 1. And point number 2 is if you start understanding the dynamics of you're basically proposing to become a retail chain.
Enabled by technology, yes.
It doesn't matter. The bottom line is you're trying to become a retail chain. You want to become a retail chain that showcases new brands. If you actually go into that business, you will understand that the business of retail is this kind of 40%, 60% to the retailer, 40% to the brand. That's the business. The wholesale retail revenue share is that. It's not a commission. It is the way the wholesale, you're buying wholesale and selling retail. And that business is a 60-40 business. You're not going to be changing that.
So I think the element that works there, right? I think there are the 3 components which sort of make the overall business work and not just be sort of stymied into that corner of just being a retail chain, is because the business model doesn't work on, let's say, for the lack of a better word, trying to buy shelf space, right? I think what we're doing is that we're going to charge a membership fee to a consumer. And
you're
we enable.
not going to buy their products. You're just going to ask them to give you their products on consignment.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's going to work. Instead, certainly not going to scale.
So the question is that if I'm giving a value to a consumer that you're going to find new products that are
Giving
relevant to you.
value to a consumer, what you are doing here has to make business sense for the brands who are going to give you the inventory. You're basically asking brands to give you inventory on consignment.
Right.
And the retail business is not a consignment business. There is a consignment retail business.
So
A much smaller consignment retail is a much smaller segment of the retail market.
So I think I'm missing. I'm not able to communicate it because I think this is the nuance point. I just want to take a minute to explain it, which is that today retailers stock what sells, right? And that's fundamentally the retail business. The reason why new age brands are not being able, and people want better options at cheaper prices, but they're not able to find it because there's no.
Yeah, but that's okay. That business model has been seen before. We have, there have been in fashion, for example, featuring designers in boutiques has been a business. We have seen that business model for decades. It's a very common business model in fashion in particular to show, so I think that business of showing new brands or stocking a retail offering with new brands, it's not a new concept. It has been done, but the thing you want to do is to get those products from those new brands on consignment. You better go check that whether that assumption validates.
Yeah,
Are
I've
people
done
willing
that,
to
right? I've done that, and like at least 20 plus brands, and this is the tip of the iceberg, have agreed to do that. So they're fine with that. And the pitch to them, right, is that okay? I'm not guaranteeing sales. Typically, is the problem that sort of stops that from happening. But because there is an AI-powered recommendation system at the core, which tells me that
cannot
okay, fine, in
guarantee
bank.
sale. No AI powered recommendation engine is going to guarantee sale. If you
No,
guarantee sale, you're going to fail to deliver on that value proposition, and the brands are
no.
going to get really pissed off.
So in that context, right? So what I'm going to do is, if let's say there's a jam, right, or let's say a series of jams in a particular price point, and I know that from the sales data that I have in a particular city, in this particular area, this sells at this velocity, right? I'll only stock those 4 or 5 or 10 brands, right? And it's a very location centric play, and based on that data set, which is why I'm saying that
It's going to be, if you want to get into retail, brick and mortar retail, it's going to be not only location centric, it is going to also be category centric. A grocery store is not a fashion store. A fashion store is not a furniture store. I mean, all these are different businesses. So you have to pick what business you're going to be in. Are you going to be in the grocery business? Are you going to be in the fashion business? Are you going to be in the furniture business? Are you going to be in the shoe business? Whatever. I mean, you can do new brands in a category. And then your TAM analysis is completely top down. Top down TAM analysis is not what you need. You need a bottom up TAM analysis, very specific to what you are trying to do and based on your business model. TAM is the total available revenue opportunity for your business. It's not your revenue forecast. It is the total available revenue opportunity that is derived from your business model, your pricing model, and so on. So this TAM is irrelevant.
One question there. So I'm very clear on what category I want to enter, which is basically everything in the grocery segment. I'm not touching fashion. I'm not touching apparel. I'm not touching electronics.
Okay.
And that is just the TAM of grocery retail in India. And in terms of
So
category,
you want to create a new retail store, new retail grocery store that is going to have new brands. That's your value proposition. And that is heavily technology optimized. That's your story.
technology optimized and allows consumers to buy products at 30% better for you products at 30% off, basically.
How can you do that? 30% off. That's not going to give you.
So
I mean,
again,
you have to look at your own margins and so on as well. Retail means there is a real estate component to it.
right, but if you look at the way that I'm trying to monetize the business, it's not a retail play. Like what the current
play.
the current unit economics.
You want to do it as a consignment retail play, which I have a huge question mark around, but everything you've described is a retail play. There's no other way to describe this business.
Okay.
So as long as you buy or lease real estate, put a store together and try to sell to consumers products, whatever products, it is a retail business. There's no other way to describe that business.
I think, okay, my question to you in terms of the support from 1M is that I think the overall vision is not being communicated because it's not limited to a store. The store is a necessary component of a larger vision, which includes a retailer marketplace. It's got an AI component to that retail marketplace as well, where product discovery is the store's work is product discovery and distribution is by that marketplace. These are two necessary components to basically make sure that we're solving a large chunk of this problem. Unit economics work, I've already sort of validated that across the board.
You could call it a two-sided marketplace.
Right. So is that something?
You can position it as a two-sided market. The positioning needs work. Obviously, you're not able to communicate, but I mean, I extracted a positioning based on what I heard. There may be other positioning options, and we could work on that. Yes, that's something we could work on. Sure.
Got it. And the second question that I have in terms of your opinion is that where we're building the MVP, right, and we already have LOIs from retailers, from brands. I think the core component of raising capital early is because it's going to be expensive to open the stores necessary for this. Second is because we also want
capital. This is not a fundable situation.
Okay.
This is not a fundable situation at all.
So what would you say if the technology play is there and like you said the two-sided marketplace piece, right? And then at what
validate the two-sided marketplace and get to a point where you can clearly communicate the value and show that this is working, and then it can be a fundable business. At the moment, the way you're pitching it, it's on a concept. Nobody's going to fund you, I don't think.
Got it. No, thank you. Helpful feedback.
Sure. Okay, folks, it looks like we have gone through all the pitches. I'm amazed that we have been able to get through that many pitches today. So I'll give you a little bit of an overview of how to use 1 million by 1 million. And if you're very welcome to join the program and I will work with you. Everything is at 1MBY1M.com. The entire acceleration program is virtual, so anyone from anywhere in the world can use it. 1M Premium is our full acceleration program where you get not only strategy consulting and you get access to our curriculum. When you are ready, if you have a fundable business, if we get you to a fundable situation and you have a fundable business, we can introduce you to investors as well. And then we have a lot of influence. I personally have a lot of influence on LinkedIn in particular. So where it's relevant, we also help you with influence marketing. 1M Basic is our curriculum only option. So, I don't think Rashid is here anymore, but I think Rashid would benefit tremendously from just learning how to build a business. It's not a crime not to know how to build a business, right? You're not born with the knowledge of how to build a business. It's like everything else. It's something that has to be learned. So, please learn how to build a business. So go to the website, look at what to expect from basic, what to expect from premium. We have had a lot of requests from people who are very, very obsessed with confidentiality and stealth and want one-on-one consulting. So yes, there is one-on-one consulting, but it's expensive. So up to you. The next 3 free roundtables are December 5th, 12th, and 19th. So please book your slot. And if you book a slot, please show up, because today we were, even by giving a lot more slots than usual, we were only able to give out 6 slots. And one of you didn't show up. We had to turn somebody down to give you that slot. And it's just not fair to waste a slot. You're basically taking somebody else's opportunity away, and that's not fair. So if you have questions about the program, please contact Irina at 1Mby1M.com, Irina Patterson on our team. Would be happy to get on the phone with you or WhatsApp or Skype, whatever. If you have questions, she's been with the program for a long time and can answer. If there are any questions before we wrap up from anybody who's still in the room, I know it's been a very long session, but it's also been a very interesting session. We've learned a lot, we've seen a lot of different case studies and so on. So it's been a fascinating session actually. So please feel free to ask questions. I will stay and answer before we wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, Samana. So I have like a very full, I listed 3 questions from my side is, however, I got very little time to put myself in front of you, but it's okay. I hope you understood what we are doing.
Yes,
So,
your business is doable. Your business is doable. It needs a tighter positioning because you're going into a market that is very crowded, right? Business analytics is a very crowded market. I like the fact that you're starting to zero in on specific data sets and specific use cases, like the Shopify use case you gave an example of. You gave an example of Tally. I like all that. So you're in the right direction. You're absolutely in the right direction.
thank you. And the second question was that until what point bootstrapping is a better choice than raising the funds? I mean, it could be like, we can say until you have the funds, but still few people have different aspects
So I'll
on
tell
that.
you, I have a very, very clear answer to this question. To raise venture capital, you're going to have to convince an investor that you have what it takes to go from $0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. This is the venture capital business. So bootstrap, as long as it's necessary to have the ingredients with which to tell the story in a credible way, in a defensible way, that you can meet that trajectory, that high velocity trajectory.
Okay.
Okay. So we have companies in the program right now, a very nice company that's about 5 crores. It's going to, in March, in an Indian company, in March, they're going to do 5 crores. So we are working on figuring out the narrative. I think we already have enough to understand the narrative of how we're going to scale this company in a high velocity 5 to 7 year, $100 million mode. So we have to do some more work, but it's not that much more work. We should be able to get this out for fundraising if we want to. Then comes the question, do you want to, right? This is the position where you are in a privileged position where you can. Then comes the question, should you or shouldn't you? And that's a question that it's very business specific. This particular company is getting inbound leads left, right, and center. So there is not a tremendous pressure to go out to raise money. Right? So the later you raise money, the less dilution, the more ownership you keep, and so on and so forth. So you raise money when you need to raise money. And your business, it depends on how, if you decide to work with us at 1M, I will give you very, very clear, specific guidance on how to go about your go-to-market strategy. And if you can get yourself to a position where there is a lot of organic business happening, it's a great idea to play that out, build that momentum, and then you may have seen my, mantra, do not go to VCs as beggars, go as kings. You want the VCs to chase you as opposed to you chasing VCs. And one of the things I do religiously in 1M is trying to get entrepreneurs to a position where you can be in that mode.
Great. I think that's all from my side. Thank you, Samana. And you have wonderful knowledge about different domains, you understand the complete sense of business in like 5 minutes. It is, for me, it was really hard to actually understand what the people are actually doing. So hats off to you. I mean, wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful
I've been
job.
doing it for so long and so intensely that I've just gotten better at it for practice.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to you. I mean, what you have just gained is, I mean, only few people. I mean, I spoke with couple of my friends as well, like who are into same sort of business, but it's still like understanding the things in just 5 minutes, like what exactly we are doing is, I hope that you are obviously doing it for so long. I mean, you said that for 16 years or so you have been doing this. So this is a great thing. Yes, I would love to connect back you again, and would like to
But
join the
join the
program as
program,
well.
then you can work with me on a weekly basis. We have roundtables like this on a weekly basis, and anybody who's in the program can work with me on a weekly basis. And I will, all this, I will focus on your venture and give you very actionable feedback on what you can go off, and do as homework, let's say. And then we reconvene, iterate, and you will make progress. I mean, we know this program works. We've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will definitely would like to join that program.
Fantastic. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
You're all welcome to the program. You decide what you want to do. And if there are no other questions, I will wrap up. If there are any other questions, I'm happy
I
to.
do have one. Just
Yes.
from so let's say quick commerce when it started, right? It was a new age concept, and it was unheard of. It when it was a completely new category. It had a lot of physical retail elements, which had like dark stores and then quick delivery, and now they've pivoted to a bunch of cafes and other models, right? Uh, my question is, would you be able to help? And I know, like part of that maybe change the business model, but do you think that there could be a category creation in this space, considering the problem statements are real?
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay.
Category creation is a marketing job. And,
Okay.
like we did Freshworks in 2010.
Mhm.
Indian SaaS was just starting.
Right.
So I did a tremendous amount of category creation work to position that as a trend, and then Indian SaaS just took off immensely. So yeah, category creation is an advisable thing to do. If you can create a positioning that lends itself to category creation, yes, absolutely. I would strongly recommend we do category creation, and I do have tremendous influence, and that influence has just
Right.
grown, over time. So
And these sessions are like, how does it work? Could you? I know that we've gone through the FAQs, but like in those sessions when you do it weekly, is it like a cohort-led session, kind of like 4 people or
no,
6 people?
yeah, same as here.
Okay.
It's multiple people, but it's closed door sessions. It's members only, and the recordings are not available publicly. These are recordings. You still have recordings available. The recordings are important because you can see how complex these discussions are, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
taking notes doesn't do justice to capturing the complexity of it. That's why the recordings are really important, so that you can go back and refer to them and then process that. You can focus on the discussion, on the complexity of the discussion, and then the note taking is happening in the background where you can just replay the recordings and work on it later. So you will have the recording available, but it's all, members only sessions.
Got it. No, thank you. This session has been tremendously helpful. Really appreciate it. And
Welcome.
yeah, look forward to hopefully
I
being a part
love
of
doing
it.
this work, as from a qualitative point of view, it's as you can imagine, it's intellectually incredibly challenging, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
To process 6 businesses like this in real time in little amounts of time is incredibly challenging, but I really thrive in that work.
Right. That's great.
I love strategy work.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, very nice to meet you all. And those of you who did not pitch today and are listening, if you're looking for a slot, sign up quickly. It is mostly first come, first serve. So if you send your slides to Maureen the earliest, you will get the slots reserved earliest. But today was impossible to fit in everybody who came. But it's been a pleasure. I wish you all the best, and I'll look forward to working with
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.